Hello, and welcome back to another video. This one is a bit of a follow-up to last week's video, which was about my NES games. This week we are looking at my Super NES games. We are looking at the Super Nintendo. I've collected on and off for the Super Nintendo over the years. I'm more of a Mega Drive guy. I've got a lot more Mega Drive games. If you've seen my Mega Drive video recently, you'd know that. I know it's been a lot of collection videos recently, but I've been swamped with a lot of different things, from dental surgery to moving flat. Crazy. Well, not moving flat. No. Or moving house. Busy. That won't be for a long time, though, so we'll get round to that. Anyway. We're looking at my NES game, my SNES games today. We'll start with, I cannot for the life of me read that, Exhaust Heat. It's kind of a top-down racing game. So I've been buying a lot of games for the Atari VCS. I bought Neo Sprint, which is actually really good, and that kind of made me want to find something very similar, which is Exhaust Heat. It's kind of a top-down Micro Machines sort of racing game. Those you do not see very often nowadays. Neo Sprint is the only one I've heard of in the last 5, if not 10 years. And Exhaust Heat is just as fun, to be fair. It lacks, obviously, a lot of the more modern things you'd expect in a video game, but you don't buy SNES games for modern conveniences. Exhaust Heat is a lot of fun, though. I've been playing a bit of it on the Polymega. It's not 100% amazing, but it's decent enough where I would say get it. But it's also not good enough where I would say don't get it. If you see what I mean. I'll move on to you in a moment. I don't know why you're that way around. Okay. Everybody's favourite fighting game. No, it's Mortal Kombat 2. You may remember I bought this a couple months ago. I've played it since. It's really good. It is really good. I'm not huge on Mortal Kombat. I never really have been. I have a few. I think, Deception. Yeah, I've got Deception, Special Forces. I own 2 and 3. And that's it. I don't own many Mortal Kombat games, but I think 2 is kind of edging its way up there to being my second favourite. 3 goes first. 3 is excellent. But, yeah, 2 is a very close second there. I would imagine if I played the first one, I'd be like, oh yes, it's certainly a third place sort of thing. But, yeah, it's okay. There are better fighting games on the Super Nintendo, and that would be Killer Instinct. Yeah, Killer Instinct. They released Killer Instinct on the SNES first. I have a few Rare games. Or games by Rare Limited. I'm meaning to do a Rare video. Unfortunately, I don't have any of the Donkey Kong Country series, which I'd imagine a lot of people would be screaming at me for, but I also don't own Super Metroid or Super Mario. That's helpful. No, I don't. That's good. That's fine. That's helpful. I don't own, like, Super Mario or any of the classic stuff you would want on an SNES video, but that's okay. Yeah, Killer Instinct's actually pretty solid. It's a pretty solid fighting game. I'll probably talk more about it in that video that I'm going to do about Rare, because I'm quite excited to talk about that. I think it's going to be very exciting. However, there are also bad fighting games on the SNES, like Shaq Fu. I know there is a website out there where they are dedicated to finding every single copy of Shaq Fu and destroying them. They are dedicated to finding as many of these things as possible and destroying them in some capacity, hopefully in a way that's recyclable. But yeah, it's not good. It's not good. It's about a very tall basketball man who did a very bad movie about being a genie that didn't star Sinbad, despite what you may believe. It starred Shaq. And he raps, and he says the words green egg and ham it. Yeah, I will never be able to take Shaq seriously, and I think that's kind of the point. Shaq Fu is just as ridiculous and just as garbage as you would imagine it to be. It's bad. It's very, very, very bad. Okay, that's a game I forgot I owned. Spectre! I don't know what this is. I know it's by Game Tech. Game Tech were around a fair amount throughout the very early 90s. I had a couple of games from them. I had very specifically, they did Frontier Elite 2 on the Amiga CD32. Now, I got rid of my Amiga CD32 because it was overpriced and it was garbage. It was a bad console. It's not one I would recommend ever owning. But I also said the same thing about the Atari Jaguar, so what do I know? Yeah, Spectre. No idea. No idea. I found it for like £2, I think. It's just one of those games where it's like, oh, I own that. What is that? I will try that out and we will see. By contrast, I do know that I owned MechWarrior. Now, I'm not a huge fan of BattleTech. I've been trying to get into it, more so the video game side. I did buy... Where are you? Over there somewhere. MechWarrior 5. I really like MechWarrior 5, and this is MechWarrior 1, allegedly. There's also MechWarrior 2 on the Saturn that I've been meaning to buy for the last few years, but it's also fucking expensive. And then every other bloody game was, well, apart from like a top-down MechWarrior BattleTech thing, was released on PC. From around that era. It was just PC, which is lame. Although I did pick up Mech Assault recently. Maybe I should do a MechWarrior video. That'd be pretty good. That would be pretty good. I have been meaning to. Yeah, maybe. Sod it. We'll do a MechWarrior video. Why not? No, I don't have enough games for that. But no. Yeah, it's an interesting game. I don't know whether I'd recommend playing it. Again, it's one of those ones where playing it nowadays, it's not great, kind of like Exhaust Heat. Exhaust Heat is fun, but it's very much a product of its era. Same with MechWarrior. It's not... hasn't aged particularly well. Unlike kind of the rest of these, actually. I've got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Got about 8 more games to talk about, if you're interested and want to stick around. I'd argue all of these have aged very well. Starting with one of the NES's first launch titles, from what I'm... the SNES's, rather. SNES's launch titles, which is Pilot Wings. Yeah, I really like Pilot Wings. As a series, it's one I've been mildly fascinated about, because it's such a strange, weird series. It crops up every now and then. So you've got, I think it's Pilot Wings Resort on the 3DS. There's Pilot Wings 64 that I went out of my way to find, and I had to kind of buy the original if I was going to get it. It's one of those series Nintendo goes, shall we make a new one? Yeah? Why not? Yeah, do they do that with Kid Icarus? No. Do we get a port of Kid Icarus Uprising for the Switch? No. Anyway, moving on. Maybe they'll announce something in September. That'd be nice. But Pilot Wings. Yeah, Pilot Wings. Very solid. Very solid game. Heartily recommend. Even now, I think it's aged very well. It's very much a tech demo, but that's kind of the point. They are tech demo games, and sometimes those are interesting to play. Metal Marines by Mindscape. By Mindscape. I'm as old as this game. 1993. That's horrifying. 31 years ago today, Metal Marines launched... Well, probably not today, but... Yeah, licensed by Namco. This is a Namco game. This was on the Namco collections for the Evercade, which you'll never get that Evercade video of me. I sold everything because it wiped half of the cartridges, and CX took them anyway because they don't test anything. So, no, I am, of course, kidding. I just sold them because it's a garbage system. It's garbage. Yeah, Metal Marines. Pretty solid RTS. It's a console RTS from 1993. That is not something you see. That is not something you see that often. About the only other two I can genuinely think of, outside of Rampart, which doesn't count, and just because Rampart plagues my brain with how much I enjoy it, are Herzog Zwei and Dune 2. That's it. I cannot think of another one. Maybe Populous, maybe Centurion. Gemfire doesn't count. But RTS games, rare. Rare from that era. The concept of a real-time strategy game really wasn't kicked into gear until Westwood came along and went, "You want to revolutionise an entire genre?" Yeah. Cool. Doom 2. And here we are. Here we are, down the line. Metal Marines is not a bad one. It controls a bit funky, but it's enjoyable enough. I think it's lacking in a lot of things that I find necessary in an RTS nowadays, specifically a skirmish mode. But if an RTS doesn't have a skirmish mode, I'm not interested. That's why I don't play Alien Extinction. It's ridiculous. Yet I do play Goblin Commander, so whatever. Doesn't matter. Moving on. That is, unfortunately, the only strategy game I own on the SNES, because it's kind of one of the only ones. There aren't too many. I used to have Populous. No idea where that went. It's just gone. I think I probably during one of the many console game purges I have done over the last 10 years, probably went with that a lot. May pick it up again. It's not very expensive. Or was it Populous too? I can't remember. Doesn't matter. Moving on. Super Mario Kart. Yeah, probably my third favourite racing game on the SNES. Pretty solid. Again, though, it's one of those cases where Mario Kart 64, Mario Kart Double Dash, Mario Kart Wii, Mario Kart DS, Mario Kart 7, Mario Kart 8 have all kind of aged better. They've aged better than this has. I mean, Mario Kart 8 is now 10 years old, which is way too old, and we haven't had a new Mario Kart since, which is baffling. But whatever. A decade of support, I guess. Yeah, Super Mario Kart, though, not aged terribly, but not aged as well as the rest, and I think that's largely due to the graphical limitations, more accurately the technological limitations of the SNES. It's a 2D system. it doesn't do 3D very well. I mean, I've played Doom on this thing and it doesn't play it well. Same with Wolfenstein. Doesn't play Wolfenstein very well either, but that's a lot because I played an emulator and it's hot garbage. One of these days, I will get Wolfenstein for the 3DO, and then I'll do my Wolfenstein video. Wouldn't that be lovely? But we'll get around to that. It's very expensive. It's like 70 quid. Okay. The reason I bought a SNES, and I'm not kidding when I say this, I first read about this game in a Nintendo official magazine, I think, back in 2002. And it became a game I became obsessed with for pretty much the rest of my life, which is baffling because it's weird. It's a side-scroller, and quite frankly, I've been playing the sort of advanced remake that they did on the Switch a couple years ago, and it's currently fighting for Best Game of the Year for me, which is very weird because it's download only, and that is ActRaiser. Now, this is from Enix, so it's not quite Square, and I think it's from Quintet? I think Quintet did this, along with Eve of Extinction? Can't remember. But yeah, I want to say this is Quintet. You're older than I am. ActRaiser is great. It's a god game combined with you can manifest as an avatar, and it's a side-scrolling platformer at the same time. Amazing game. That concept lived rent-free in my head for like nearly 20 years. Until my friend bought it for me a few years ago for Christmas. It's amazing. It's genuinely really good. And I've been playing ActRaiser Renaissance on the Switch. I love that game. Like, unequivocally, no doubt in my mind, if a limited run went, hey, let's do a physical release of X-Rays Renaissance, I'll buy the limited edition. Like, it's brilliant. It's a really, really solid game, and it just kind of makes me realise how much I really fucking love ActRaiser. I haven't got 2 yet. And I know 2 lacks the God game elements, it's just strictly a side-scrolling platformer, which is lame as shit. But it's more ActRaiser. I mean, hell, I bought, there's a developer called Ace Team, who I used to really love because they made Xenoblade. So, they made Xenoclash, and I love Xenoclash. I love its weird, surreal bullshit. They came along and went, they're not making any new ActRaiser games, we're gonna make one. And it sucked. It wasn't very good, which is kind of lame. So I bought ActRaiser Renaissance, and it is beautiful. It's very good. It's very, very good. So it would be nice to see more ActRaiser. Hell, a 3D one would be mad. It would be so good. I'd play the shit out of that. I would. I'm not kidding. If they came along and went, yeah, fuck it, why not? Let's make a new ActRaiser, but we're going to make it 3D and it's a giant open world and you actively build it. Sold. Game of the year. Okay, the final 2. So these, the final 2 series. The final 2 series, these do include 2 repro games, because it's impossible to find these physically. But we'll start with... Ooh, it's tough to figure out what my favourite one is. Screw it. F-Zero. I love F-Zero. I love F-Zero. I am planning on doing an F-Zero video, but I want every F-Zero game. I mean, every. Obviously, I'm not going to own F-Zero X's modification kit for the Nintendo 64 disc drive. Yeah, no, I'm not going to be getting that. I will be getting a EverDrive, and I will be running pretty much exclusively those games off of it, but I will not be running that otherwise. But yeah, F-Zero is a franchise I fell in love with kind of the second I played Smash, to the point where I'm actively looking at Captain Falcon's amiibo. I love F-Zero. Just no doubt. And I am garbage at F-Zero. I'm garbage at that. I'm garbage at the SNES one. I'm garbage at the N64 version. I'm garbage at GX. Garbage. I kind of want to watch the anime, but we'll get to that. I do want to watch the anime. Anime looks really good, but apparently there's no English dub, which is fine. Yeah, and the little game that started it all has aged really well. To the point where they're now using it as the basis for F-Zero 99, which I wish that would get some kind of physical release like Tetris 99 did. That would be amazing if they went, yeah, we're going to launch it with a physical release. It's going to have a physical release, a year's worth of Switch membership, or whatever membership is the next one. Year's worth of membership and an offline mode. Day one buy. I'm not kidding. I will drop 40 quid on that. I don't care. No ifs, ands, or buts. They won't do it though because they suck. Because Nintendo don't release physical versions of the games I want them to. That being said, it did follow on with F-Zero Grand Prix 2. F-Zero Grand Prix 2 is a Satellaview game. So the Sega Saturn and the the Super Nintendo and the Mega Drive had these sort of downloadable content games. That basically you could plug this thing, either a Satellaview, or you could plug in what was called the Sega Channel into the console, and then you would download the games that were on rotation and play through them. Now, they often weren't very long, and a lot of them became lost media, like F-Zero Grand Prix 1, which kills me inside. But F-Zero Grand Prix 2 wasn't. So I found this on eBay about a year ago now, and I had to have it. I will get Grand Prix 1. I think they've remade it. I think people have remade the whole thing, and I'm going to track that down because I love the concept of owning more than one F-Zero game on a fucking Nintendo console. And I will be picking up the other, I think it's just Game Boy. It's just Game Boy releases after that, unfortunately, but here we are. Yeah, I'm a huge F-Zero fan. I will be doing an F-Zero video. Bear with me. Now, if you've seen my Star Fox video, which if you haven't, go watch it, I'm a big fan of Star Fox. I love Starwing. Starwing. It's called Starwing over here, which is a garbage name. It's not great. I think it was something to do with like a defense contractor in Germany was called Star Fox or something like that. So they were like, yeah, we can't call it that. We have to call it Starwing. And then when we got to the N64, they went, no, we have to call it Lilac Wars, which is dumb. It's Star Fox and Star Fox 64. That's just what they are. Although Lilac Wars is also a fine name, so it doesn't matter. And then a few years later, they released the Star Fox 64, 3D on the 3DS. But yeah, Star Fox is a graphical powerhouse. It really, really is. It is a graphical powerhouse. It's built off of something called the Super Effects chip, which was developed by Argonaut. Argonaut basically made the first 2 games, which is very exciting. They made the first one, and this you can find cheap. It is like £8. It's not expensive at all, and it's really good. It's a really solid. It's a really solid game. I don't think it's aged as well as Lilac Wars, but Star Fox 1, yeah, good. Runs amazingly, considering, which is kind of a shame as to why they then cancelled 2. So, this is a repro, obviously. They didn't physically release... Oh, they never physically released Star Fox 2. They did release it on the Super Nintendo Mini back in the day, back when that came out. And I, quite frankly, wasn't going to drop £100 on something that I could get as a repro for, like, 40. So I did that instead. This one adds a lot that they then went on to use in future Star Fox games, like Star Fox Command, Star Fox 64, kind of branching pathways, open areas, that sort of thing. The strategy mode was very prevalent in this one. And I've played a bit of this one, and I'm garbage at it, and I will freely admit that, same way I'm garbage at the original, and I'm garbage at Star Fox in general. But this one I found on eBay, and it was a cannibalized Doom cartridge. They'd gone, yeah, I took Doom, stripped off its sticker, wiped the thing, and then I just stuck in the ROM of Star Fox 2. And you know what? It runs beautifully. It runs very, very well. And you know what? That copy of Doom died for our sins, because what an excellent game to replace Doom over in the form of Star Fox 2. So yeah, that is me done for another week, guys. I think I'm getting ever closer to doing the Vectrex video. I think I might wait a little bit. I want to get a few more games first, but they're fucking expensive, so we'll see. Down the line, I may do an updated Atari video as well. We'll see. I've got a few things in the pipeline. You will be seeing a bit more from me, just kind of talking about other things. That rebrand, I'm umming and ahhing about. We'll see. I kind of want to get it right. Kind of want to get the tone right. I'll probably film a couple of videos. I've got some other stuff that I want to do as well with it. Just kind of create what I want it to look like. But we'll get there. It won't just be me talking in front of a camera anymore. It'll be a bit more edited. I've got a new laptop, which is good. So, yeah, should hopefully be seeing some actual gameplay footage in these videos as well. That'd be fantastic. So, yeah, anyways, guys, that is me signing off for another week.